I mentioned in my Oz video about the problem with Bilbo Baggins. Please don't disown me, Mom. A middle-aged gentle hobbit who gets randomly chosen by Gandalf the Grey to accompany Thorin and his 12 companions on their quest. Somehow, when Gandalf leaves, it's Bilbo who's leading the group, not Thorin. Why? First, let me explain why this is so weird. Thorin, son of Thrain, son of Thror, is the rightful king of the dwarves. I like to use the term Low King because Pratchett has a wonderful way with words. Let's compare Thorin to another king in exile, Aragorn. Yes, Aragorn is the heir to Gondor, being about 30 generations removed from Elendil, the last High King, before Isildur and Anarion split the kingdom. On the other hand, Thorin grew up in the Lonely Mountain. His father was king, wearing not a crown, but a ring of power as a symbol of his authority. Thrain was the last living mortal to openly wield one of the great rings. Thorin is also a hardened veteran of the war against the orcs of Moria. He had lived in exile for 171 years and led the dwarves for a full century in the Blue Mountains. The somewhat bumbling and inexperienced leader that we apparently see in the book is nonsensical for a character of this background. Now, for all of his lineage, Thorin allowed himself to be led by Gandalf. After all, the man is a Maiar angel, and only fools ignore literal divine guidance. But starting in Mirkwood, when Gandalf leads, Thorin allows himself to be guided and even led by Bilbo. How did this happen? Well, let's look at the other side of the equation. In Unfinished Tales, which retold the first chapter of The Hobbit from Gandalf's perspective, Thorin openly questions the decision, derisively saying that Bilbo looks more like a grocer than a burglar. Indeed, Bilbo's early part of this adventure fulfills this expectation, leading the group to be trapped by the trolls and having to be carried through the goblin tunnels. While he does help at times, he was clearly out of his depth. Then he finds the ring. He escapes miraculously and begins to take a far more active role in the adventure. But he also begins to act more sinisterly. It's hidden a bit by the perspective. However, he lies to his friends. He wields a sword for the first time, laughing and singing as he slaughters sentient spiders. He taunts Smaug with disastrous results. Then Bilbo uncharacteristically steals the Arkenstone, the one treasure that Thorin reserved for himself. Yes, he does try and use it to broker peace, but he didn't even know about the potential war when he stole the stone. These aren't the actions of the lovable hobbit we meet at the beginning of the story. This explains how Bilbo became the leader of the company. He was being affected by the power of the ring. As sinister as it sounds, Thorin wasn't following Bilbo. He was following the invisible 15th member of the company, Sauron. Also might explain some of Thorin's more unusual actions, like his rudeness to Thranduil. Thorin at least gave the great goblin his name, but he refused to even do that to his neighbor. While they might have not been the closest of allies, minor diplomacy could have had him treated as a guest and sent on his way rather than as bandit to be imprisoned with an impromptu jailbreak. The ring's corruption had started to affect him. It's creepy. Even before the ring was revealed, it was greatly affecting the story, right under the nose of the entire White Council and the assembled powers of Middle-earth. Thanks for listening, y'all.